The legalization of marijuana is a topic that is not uncommon to anyone who resides in the United States. The debate has been a continuous one for quite some time now, and it seems that the support of legalization has actually increased over time, and for good reason. The attacks against marijuana and its legalization are largely based on personal opinions and outlying studies. In fact, the majority of studies have shown that positive effects are seen alongside usage, or at the very least, benefits that outweigh any possible negative side effects. Regardless of all of this, however, any arguments against legalization ought to be considered null and void when one is able to apply those same arguments to legal drugs and alcohol, which have been proven time and time again to be more harmful and dangerous than marijuana could ever hope to be. Marijuana ought to be legalized, which I will demonstrate through three main points. First, marijuana's negative stigma is unjustified. Second, marijuana has numerous positive benefits. And third, marijuana is less harmful than legal drugs. When someone asks you what your opinion is on the legalization of marijuana, what do you say? Is your opinion based on something that you've heard from society? Sadly, marijuana has been wrongly degraded based on mere personal opinions. Judge Rudy Gerber explained the political pathology has been particularly marked in the three presidents before the millennium, Reagan, Bush the Elder, and Clinton, who shared a drug-induced ethical poverty. In spite of the fact that 4 presidential commissions convened to study marijuana and found it a relatively harmless narcotic and the drug of choice for several ailments, each of them declared it a dangerous drug requiring Schedule I status. Every legitimate study of marijuana's physical and mental effects on humans has found that it is a drug of choice for alleviating the symptoms of a host of illnesses, especially the treatment of pain and nausea. It is impossible to overdose on marijuana. It is not addictive, one does not develop a tolerance, so doses do not need to be increased, and no deaths can be attributed to marijuana. The misguided stigma attached to marijuana started in the political sphere despite evidence showing that it is not nearly as bad as it was claimed to be. Since society has misguided many on the facts of marijuana, most people are unaware of the numerous positive benefits that are actually attributed to marijuana. Marijuana has numerous positive benefits. Megan Cusson and Walter Block explained the legalization of drugs would prevent our civil liberties from being threatened any further. It would reduce crime rates, reverse the potency effect, improve the quality of life in inner cities, prevent the spread of diseases, save the taxpayer money, and generally benefit both the individuals and the community as a whole. Legalizing drugs would eliminate many inconsistencies, guarantee freedoms, and increase the effectiveness of the government's anti-drug beliefs. There are actually numerous positive effects of marijuana legalization for both individuals and the community. Despite these positive benefits, some people are still against legalization of marijuana. However, those same people tend to support alcohol and tobacco being legal. What they may not realize is that both of these drugs have been proven time and time again to be much worse than anything compared to the illegal drugs of marijuana. Seems a little backwards, right? Marijuana is actually less harmful than legal drugs. Professor Anderson, Hansen, and Reese stated that the current study examines the relationship between the legalization of medical marijuana and traffic fatalities, the leading cause of death among Americans ages 5 through 34. The first full year after coming into effect, legalization is associated with an 8 to 11% decrease in traffic fatalities. The impact of legalization on traffic fatalities involving alcohol is larger and estimated with more precision than it is in the impact on the traffic fatalities that do not involve alcohol. Legalization is also associated with a sharp decrease in the price of marijuana and alcohol consumption, which suggests that marijuana and alcohol are substitutes. No deaths can be attributed to marijuana, as are linked to alcohol and tobacco. Deaths are by accident or by respiratory ailments. Reported deaths from tobacco average 400,000 a year, from alcohol 50,000 a year, and from marijuana 0. Many of the oppositions against marijuana are hypocritical when one considers alcohol and tobacco, both of which are legal and more dangerous than the illegal marijuana. Marijuana is no worse than legal counterparts, alcohol and tobacco. In fact, it's actually much less harmful and dangerous. Because of this, is there really any justifiable reason to be against legalization? In all reality, what do you really know about marijuana and the effects of usage? In order to answer this question, what are you relying upon? Facts actual information from research and experiments that have been replicated and proven to be true. Perhaps a couple different studies you skimmed in class one time. Or maybe, just maybe, your opinion has been entirely dependent upon a status quo that was initiated back with Nancy Reagan's Just Say No to Drugs campaign, where studies that showed the benefits of marijuana were neglected. It's important to understand the truth about marijuana when considering its legalization, especially that it has been wrongly skewed in the eyes of the public. Further, one should comprehend and acknowledge all of the positive benefits that can be attributed to legalization, which I explained by showing that marijuana has a negative stigma and that's unjustified. So I did this through 3 main points. First, I showed that marijuana was unjustly stigmatized. Second, I showed that marijuana has numerous positive benefits. And finally, marijuana is less harmful than legal drugs. And this is why it ought to be